Let me pick up there with you in terms of where we stand and what needs to be done, particularly in light of what's happening at the border now, with FEMA being sent to assist. What is your sense of where we stand in terms of longer-term solutions for what's happening at the border, including the two bills that House Democrats plan to move forward this week?
Well, Josh, we need the two bills, but we need to first look at what's happening at the border and say it's morally unacceptable what's happening to some of these children. I mean, I just read a report that some of the children don't have food. They aren't being able to shower. They're being held for more than 72 hours without going to Office of Refugee Resettlement. They aren't being given access to lawyers. These are human rights violations. We need to expedite and make sure they're allowed to apply for asylum. We need to expedite their reunification with families and put them in a place that isn't behind bars as unaccompanied minors and at least has food and proper shelter.
There's a facility in your district called Moffett Field, big old NASA facility. If you drive down 101 heading down Silicon Valley, you can see it. It looks like these gigantic airplane hangars. And it's currently being considered as a site by HHS as a detention center for migrant children. Tell us more about that and how you feel about the prospect of it being used as a temporary detention facility.
Well, Josh, the administration contacted us. I much prefer that we have a reunification with the family and in the Office of Refugee Resettlement, which is not as much of a detention. But if they are going to use Moffett, they need to make sure that they have the proper safeguards. I mean, what we're reading is children don't have food. They don't have proper nutrition. They don't have access to lawyers. None of that is acceptable. So we have said that you have to meet very high standards, and Congress needs to fund the refugee resettlement places so that we can have proper care for these children while they're applying for asylum.
Yeah, we should be clear. Moffett Field is not designed for housing people. It's designed as like, it's next to a California Air National Guard facility. It's designed for housing aircraft. So this would be, you know, a makeshift solution for an ongoing problem. With regards to that, I wonder how you see the other immigration issue in your district, which I think has to do with immigration of high-skilled workers. There was a lot of controversy over what are called H-1B visas, which are the kinds of visas that a lot of tech companies use to get tech workers to come work in the U.S., highly skilled workers. And there are some reports that suggest that the policies that allow for highly skilled worker visas could be threatened depending on the way that the House goes about seeking immigration reform, whether it's the big sweeping bill that the Biden administration is proposing, a series of smaller ones. Talk about this other aspect of immigration, high-skilled labor immigration and policy. What would you like to see done there?
Well, Josh, I believe whether you're looking at immigrants in tech or whether you're looking at immigrants who work in hospitality or farm, the economic studies are overwhelming that they actually create jobs, they contribute to the economy. But one of the things people often miss out is that the immigrants are spending money, and that actually leads to more business and more job creation. And there are economic studies showing that when you restrict the immigrants from coming and working, you're actually hurting consumer demand and hurting jobs. In fact, when California in 1964 banned farm workers from coming, it didn't lead to more U.S. employment. If anything, it just led to automation. So I think we start with the facts that immigrants actually enrich the economy. Now, what we want is for them to not be abused in the marketplace. And so where you have H-1B visa holders being paid below market wages, I'm all for reform and accountability. But if we can expedite to having a green card and have them have proper bargaining power, then I think we should be looking at immigrants as an asset to our economy.
A few more things I want to ask you before I let you go, including about COVID. We know that California is allowing some counties to lift some restrictions in the next few days and weeks, depending on how infection rates look. Your district kind of hugs the southern end of the Bay, San Francisco Bay, kind of at the part of Silicon Valley, north of San Jose. Talk about what's happening in your district in terms of closures, reopenings, and what you're hoping for if some of these restrictions are lifted.
Josh, I'm with Dr. Fauci that we need to be very careful and not rush into this. Dr. Cody, who is our public health official in Santa Clara County, actually had the earliest shutdown of the economy. It saved numerous lives. And what we need to do is make sure that we get vaccinated before lifting restrictions on dining and lifting restrictions on large gatherings, so that we don't deal with variants leading to more deaths in the next couple months. So I am for a cautious approach, as are a lot of the public health officials who I talked to in Santa Clara County and Alameda County.
And before